You could use Britannica and then add materials into an assignment, and then have Schoology grade it for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm actually, instead of going into a course, I'm going to build it in my resources. So then that way you'll always have, it'll be easier to manage, and then you could just assign it to multiple classes at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to go into resources. Okay, so then from resources, over here you have your collections. I'm going to be using the training one. Okay, so in training, you can create folders in here and have it organized another way. So this is the one that I was using earlier just to test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new one, and I'm using assessment because the assessment is the one that lets me have Schoology grade it for me. Okay, so I'm going to go to add resources, assessment, and then I'm going to call this, I'm going to use the theme presidential election. So that's what I'm going to use for the theme, 100 points max. And then here in the options, if I wanted to add some notes to help me organize, I can add a level. I can add what type of an assessment, because Schoology calls it assessment, even though it, we kind of we're used to calling them assignments. But anyways, here you can customize it a little bit more. And then if you wanted to use the ability to look at the data and see how it aligns to the TEKS, you can do that right now, and then you'll get that information back. Okay, so you can do the state standards, I think. Well, right here, social studies. So you can pull your social studies TEKS and then align them if you wanted that type of detail. But I'm going to leave these blank for now. Okay, so I'm going to hit submit. And then first thing it does, it takes us to the setup. And what we can do here is then we just give instructions for the students. Okay, so you can tell them for this activity, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post an image, and then the image is just going to introduce them to the assessment or to the assignment, and then I'm going to post an article, and they're going to read the article, and then there's going to be questions. I'm going to have like a little video and then questions after the video. Okay, so I'm going to say, please please read the article and watch the video. Watch the video for the question, or watch the video in order to answer the question. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And then the other thing you can do here too is I'm going to add an image just to give them context. So since we're talking about presidential election, I'm going to look something up right now in our resources, and then I'm going to add the image up here just to kind of add a little bit more to it. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to hit save because I want to pause this for now. Okay, so I get my confirmation, and I'm going to go back into, let's see, there's a couple of different ways we can go into it, but okay, so I don't see Britannica here. Okay, so that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into courses. We could have gone into Britannica. Okay, no, not there either. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into courses, and to me it's just easier, so I'm going to go into my sandbox, and then I'm going to go into Britannica School. So I'll click on it just to launch it, and then again, Britannica is just so we can find resources. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my level, high school level, and then I'm just going to come up here to the search and do presidential, and hopefully, okay, so this is what I want. So resources start coming up. So here's some articles, images, and then videos, and then here's some popular searches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on presidential election. Okay, so then here I have articles. As you can tell, there are 704 articles. There's also images. We have 453 images, videos, 23 videos. I don't think there's anything here, no. Magazine articles, so there's 949 of them. Websites, 243. And then primary sources, we have 24 that we can go to. Now, because there are so many, right? I click back on articles since there's 700. Or if we wanted to start to filter, we can filter it using Lexiles. Keeps going up and down. So if there was a certain Lexile that we wanted to look for, and again, I'm using high school level, but if I wanted to drop the Lexile down and filter it to maybe 960 through, let's say 1094, so that cut it down to 16. Okay, so now we have 16 articles. So let's say we wanted to use, okay, that's Ron Paul, the bull moose. So let's say we wanted this article right here. So I'm going to pull that up. Okay, so here's the article. So I would just read through it and say, okay, yeah, this is good. I want to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in my favorites. And what that does is it just kind of adds a little bookmark that I can come back to and get all of these resources from really quickly. So I'm going to favorite that one. And then what I get here is I can add this to an existing resource pack, and I don't have any. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one. So I'm going to call this presidential section. I'm going to create it. Okay, so now it's been added here. And so I can add it to multiple if I want to double tag it. Okay, so now I'm going to hit the X, and then I'm just going to hit the back arrow. Okay, so that's our article. And then I also said I was going to do some images. So here's the images. And I am still in the same Lexile. Okay, so now let's say I wanted this image. And here you have different levels. Level 1, 2, level 3. So it kind of gives me more or less results. Okay, so let's say I wanted to, this picture right here, a portion of the ballot. So I'm going to click on it. I kind of look at it and think, okay, yeah, this is pretty good. So again, I'm going to star it as a favorite, and then I'm going to put it in my presidential election resource pack. And then, okay, that's it for that. I'm going to close this out, and then the video. Okay, so I clicked on videos, and then that's the only one under level 1. If I go to level 2, there's 14 of them, and then level 3, a little bit more. So let's say I wanted to look at some of the, like this political propaganda video probably. Oh yeah, political ad. Okay, so let's say I wanted this video. There's a couple of ways you can do the videos, but for now I'm just gonna star it, and I'm gonna put it into my presidential election pack. Okay, so now it's there. Okay, so let's say that's it. I wanted those three sources. So to see where they're at, I have to come into my content over here. So I clicked on my content, and then here, all of my favorites. So here's those 3 resources that I just had selected. And then, yeah, if I wanted to look at the resource packs, I could just click here on presidential election, and then it'll give me specifically like the ones that are there. And then here I can add nodes if I wanted, something to help me remember what it was that I was looking at. If I convert this to a lesson plan, then it helps me, I guess, organize and tie it together a little bit more. I can edit or add content from here, or I can even share the pack. And it's just a matter of copying it, and then I can send it. I can email it to somebody. Over here, I have the option to email it straight out of Britannica School. But what I do is I just want to create the assignment in Schoology. Okay, so now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my resources. And then I had started it in training. Okay, so right here's the presidential election. So I'm going to go into edit. I'm it. Oh, actually, I could have just clicked in it. Yeah, okay, so I clicked in it. So up here is where I wanted to insert that image. Okay, so to insert the image, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little drop down. I'm going to insert the image, and I'm going to see, hopefully it lets me. Okay, no. So what I'm going to do now is, let me go back into courses. I'm going to actually open up my Britannica in 2 different windows, so that way it's easier for me to copy the resources. So Britannica resources, I am actually going to go to my content, my presidential election resource pack. Let's see it this way. Okay, so I'm going to put this in a separate window, and then I'm just going to open up Schoology again. Yeah, I'm just going to do it this way. I think this is easier for me. Okay, so now I have 2 windows of Schoology open. So I've got the one with the resource pack on the right, and all my materials. So here's my materials. And then I have my Schoology over here. So I'm going to go back into resources on the left side. And then I'm going to go into my training folder, presidential election, assignment that I'm working on, and then back into the question. So here's where I'm going to insert the image. So on the left side, I'm going to go to my image. So the image was this one right here. Just get bigger so that you can see it. It was this political ballot. And so I'm going to click in it. Here's our image. What I want is the link. So I could just click here, and then this one will not embed. This is a bad one, and I know because it says school.eb.com. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to hover over the image, and then I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to copy the image address. That's key. Okay, so now I can close that. I'm going to go back over here to my question. So in here, I click, so my cursor is right on top of the directions. I'm going to click the little square. I'm going to add an image, so not the link, but I'm going to add an image instead. And I'm going to click from the web. I'm going to paste, or I'm going to click in here to activate the box, and then I'm going to paste the image, or the link that I copied from over here. Insert it, so then here's our image, and it came out pretty big. Maximize it, so see how big it came out. So if you want to make it smaller, that's kind of hard to see. What I usually do is I just click on it one time, and then you can see how it kind of turned blue, and now I have these little circles that I can just hold down with my left button and make smaller. So that's one way you could do it. The other way is if you know and are pretty comfortable with messing around with the pixels, you can just double click on the image itself. Oops. Back. No. Click one time on the image itself, not double click. And then click on this little icon. And then here you can just tell it, you can go straight to the pixels. So let's see, I'm going to put 300 pixels. 300 by 200. Let's see what that does. Okay, so it kind of, it made it smaller, kind of distorted it a little bit, but I could push it back in there. Okay, so that's a quick way of doing it. Now, it's on the left side, so if you wanted to center it, just put that blinking cursor on the left, and then, hit the center thing, and so now the picture's centered. Okay, so we have our instructions. Okay, so the next thing is we can look at the different options we have. So you can give it a time limit if you wanted to. You can randomly order the questions. You can show the possible points. Usually I'll just put no, so that way it doesn't stress the students out. Now a toolbar, this is where you can start to add some accessibility features. So students can flag the questions for review so they can come back to it, which is probably a good thing for them to have. Students can eliminate answer choices. That's probably another good thing that they can have. They can use a calculator, so if you're a math teacher or you're doing some kind of a lesson that they need a calculator, you can turn it on for them. It defaults to off. Students can use a ruler. Again, if you're doing some kind of a measurement activity, you can use a ruler. I'm going to leave it off because we don't need one for this one. You can give them a protractor. You can let them highlight text, which is a good one since we're going to put some text in here. And then students can use a notepad. I'm going to put yes, so that way they can take notes. And then students can view the results after an attempt is submitted. If you wanted them to see it, you can put yes. And then the number of attempts that they can, how many times they can submit. So usually it's just one time, so I'm going to leave that to 1. So now I hit save, I get my confirmation. Okay, so now the next thing is to add the questions. So I'm going to use the questions. What I'm going to do is, I'm coming back over here to the material. I'm going to put the article. This is our article. So I want them to read this first. So the easiest way to do that is to get the text. Okay, so I'm going to click on this. And then here's the text. So we could just copy this text, select and then copy it. But there is another way that we can do that if it's longer, because it might be easier to do that with a short article like this one. Just highlight it and then right click, copy. You know what, let's just try that for now because this is kind of short. So what I'm going to do, instead of adding a question item, I'm going to click add text. And then since I already selected and copied the text, I'm going to click in here and then I'm just going to paste it in there. Okay, so here's our text and it actually came out pretty good. Now, if you wanted to do something where this image is in line with the text, kind of like how it is here, there are ways to do that, but for now, I'm going to leave that. Okay, so that's good. So I'm going to click save. So here's our text that we want the students to read. Okay, so after the text is where we're going to give them the questions. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here to my material. I'm going to close this one out. This is the video, so I want them to watch this video and then answer some questions. So I'm going to click the hyperlink. Here's the video. So what we could do is we could just get the link, but I want to embed the video so they can watch it. So I'm going to click on the video. I'm going to pause it. Now the good thing about Britannica Schools is you can download it, which not too many services let you do that, but for this one I'm going to download it. And it's not a long video, so it's only a minute. So I'm going to click the download icon. It downloaded into my downloads folder. So I'm going to come back to my Schoology. And so now I'm going to add a multiple choice question. So we have a lot of options here, but I'm going to add a multiple choice one. So in here, under the question setup is where I'm going to throw the video. So I'm going to tap inside the white space. I'm going to use this little tool right here. It has like a telephone and a music icon. So I'm going to click on it. Up here is where I have the option to upload audio. I can actually record audio too, or since we're looking at video, I'm going to click on the video player and I'm going to upload video. So you can actually record video too. So I'm going to click on that, and here's where I'm going to drag and drop my file. So I know it came into my downloads, and I think it was, oh, here it is. Okay, so it was this one right here. So I'm just going to drag the file, drop it, it's uploading, and while it's uploading, I'm going to click on more options. So in here, if you had a link to the video, so here's the link, so it actually pulled it out of my downloads, but the video's in here, and I'm just going to hit OK. Okay, so here's the video. If I wanted to preview it, I just hit play, and so it's playing. Now here is the size of the viewer. So right here is 480 by 270, 480 pixels. So that's the size that it's gonna, the video player is gonna look. We can give it a title if we wanted to, and then we can also give it a cover if we want to give it a cover. But I'm gonna leave it just the way it is. I'm gonna click OK. okay? So then you can't really see it up here, but I know the video's in there. So now you can give them questions. And if you wanted to add videos and questions, you can actually do the same thing again here if you wanted to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, this is answer A, this is answer B. Okay, so you can continue, right? Okay, so now we have 4 answers. Okay, and then if you wanted to give them some feedback, you can turn this on, distractor rationale, and then you can tell them this is feedback that the students can get. Please check again. And since it's a video, you can say pay attention to 30 seconds into the video, you know, something like that, like feedback. You can do that. I mean, that's not a requirement, but you can do something like that. 30 seconds. Okay, so you can do that. Now, the correct answer, so let's say the correct answer is C. So here is where you set that up. So answer C is the correct one. If you had multiple responses, maybe answer A and answer C, so you can just check that. And so now A and C are the correct answer. And then you could even shuffle the responses if you wanted to add a little bit more challenge. And then if you wanted to do partial match, so like maybe just this is 75% right, this is 25% right, so you can do things like that. You can lay out the way the answers come out. You can put in a block or radial button, and then author notes. So in here you can add even more feedback. If they get the whole thing wrong, you can add feedback over everything. So this is specific feedback, like distractor rationale, but this is overall feedback. Okay, so now let's say I'm ready, or you can even add objectives. Again, here you can type this question into a TEKS if you wanted to do more PLC data analysis. Okay, so now I'm going to hit save. Okay, so here is the text that they're going to read, and then here's the question. It's multiple choice, and then I could just keep going if I wanted to add more questions. Okay, so now I want to preview it just to see what it looks like for the student. So here's the image that's just going to give them context. Presidential election. Please read the article and watch the video in order to answer the questions that follow. So they're going to read the article, watch the video. Okay, so they're going to start the new attempt. Okay, so here's the article, right? And what's really neat is I didn't realize the hyperlinks. Okay, so that's actually a good thing. If you wanted to do, just copy the text. That is really cool. Okay, so I just learned something. So the texts are live. The hyperlinks are live. So again, it gives them more context and understanding. There's an image, and then here is the rest of the text. Now, the tools, when we had started this, so if the students want to review and come back to this text, they can just click that, or actually, that they can click and then they can see where they're at. So like if you have 20 questions, you can see which ones they're on and which ones they've answered, that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to click that off. This one is accessibility, so if they want to change the color of the screen, like maybe on black, they can do stuff like that. One of the things that I really like for kids to do is so that way they aren't distracted by all this information everywhere. They can go to full screen, and so now it's just a little bit easier for them to see and concentrate on. Okay, so I'm going to change this back to the regular one. And they could also change the font and the zoom if they wanted to do that. And hit OK, so we're back here. This one is another one that we turned on, so we can flag it, and that just means whenever, like if we did have 20 questions built, they can see the flags, and it tells them to come back to it, okay? And then they can take the flag off. this one is turned off. We have it on. This one is the notepad. So if they want to take notes, is the main idea, and then they can put their main idea, and these are their notes. And then the other things, yeah, that just expands it. So the highlighter too is something else that we added. So the kids just have to hold down with their left button, and then as soon as they let go, here's the highlighter. So they can highlight words, and then they could change the color. There's only 4 color choices, but they can do things like that. Okay, so that's the highlighter, and then that's pretty much it. Okay, so now that's the text. So now I'm going to hit next. Here's the video, so they can watch the video. Okay, so they finished watching the video, and so now they can answer the questions. And then I click on review, so I can see, okay, yep, I did that one. Here's that one, I did that one. If I had flagged maybe this number 2, right? I flagged number 2, can review, and then I can see, oh, I need to come back to this one. I can do that, and if they wanted to see their notes, they can open up their notepad. Okay, so now that's it. So let's say they're done. They hit review. They see everything. If there was anything that was unattempted, well, number 1 was, but that's just because it was text. It was text, so that's okay. And then that's it. So now they can click finish, and then that's it. So they're done with it, and it's on your end. Okay, so you're ready to grade it. But anyways, okay, so that's how you can use resources. I guess it could be from anything, not just Britannica, but that's how I would suggest you could create something with the resources from Britannica. So it's just a matter of getting the link and then throwing it in here. Okay, hope you found it useful.